guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, it's a different setup. This is actually my room. So I wanted to kind of tackle some debuts. I'll be talking about 3 players that I'd like to think performed really well on their debuts. So I don't necessarily have an order in terms of which one goes first, but the 3 players that I think have performed really well are Richarlison, Keita, and between Jorginho and Neves. So I'll just talk about Richarlison first, because that Wolves versus Everton game seems to have been a really good game for debuts. Like I said, Neves is also an option. If you, like me, were lucky enough to have him in your fantasy team, then this is a good week to have Richarlison. Scoring 1 goal on your debut is incredible, but being able to get a brace is phenomenal, and I think that in and of itself speaks volumes. Unfortunately, he also managed to get a yellow card, but who really cares about those when you've scored 2 goals, right? So yeah, he was definitely a threat, and I think they were very aware of that. But more than that is that he was also spatially aware, to a point that he noticed that the defenders were on top of him most of the time, and so he kind of had to gauge when there was space and when there was lapses in concentration. And especially with his second goal, you see that. You actually see him moving into the space, because it seems as though like the defenders actually aren't on one like they were for other opportunities, with him going forward, and how they actually were able to contain him a little bit better, or foul him a little bit better. I also think he's very well poised and very composed to be able to attack the way he does and not be threatened. At the age of 21, that's a pretty big deal. So he kind of reeks experience, even though he doesn't have too much of it yet. I definitely think he's going to be a very fun prospect to watch regarding what he's going to do for Everton. So yeah, then just sticking to that game, I'll just talk about Neves a little bit. So Neves is also 21 years old, so it's really cool to see people young and stuff, my age, performing and doing great things. I think it's also really scary to me that the youngsters are like getting younger than me. It's very weird.
Hello darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again.
I think even though he is like a defending mid, I kind of see him more of as a box-to-box. You could see that he didn't neglect his defensive responsibility, and he did contribute to the team going forward, and to chances that they had going forward. And I think this was seen with his involvement in both goals, actually. So first and foremost, I said that free kick. If you watch a previous video, you know I'm a sucker for set pieces. So when I see a free kick goal, I'm usually like, oh my gosh. And his assist was great. Like I said, not neglecting his defensive responsibilities, winning about 6 tackles throughout the course of the game, and even positioning. You could see that he tried to track back and still try to perform going forward. So I think there was somewhat of a balance. There were times where I, especially going back and watching stuff, where I noticed a lapse of concentration and mispositioning, and kind of watching when a threat was happening. But it's a 90-minute sport, and so mistakes do happen, and I don't necessarily expect a perfect game as of yet. But I think it was a really great way to start his campaign in the English Premier League from the Championship. I'm going to talk about Keita now. Wow. I think most of us, when Red Bull came out of nowhere and like did the dang thing, we were all obviously scouting, trying to see what they were doing, the kind of football they were playing, and for the most part we were so impressed with the talent that they had and the kind of playing that they did. So I think, yeah, seeing Keita get signed was very exciting. Obviously, it was kind of frustrating for the football world for him to get signed and not actually be able to play immediately for Liverpool. But seeing him play for Liverpool now, we all feel as though it was worth the wait. His debut was so beautiful to watch. He plays such silky football.
Silky. You're on the ball and that, you're quite silky.
He's so good on the ball. I think it was really, what was also really great to see was his role regarding going forward. So he was able to collect the ball and create movement going forward, like contribute greatly in terms of counter attacks and just general attacks. We saw that even with how some of the goals played out. I definitely feel as though he's going to play a huge role in terms of where Liverpool go from here, because as we can see, the development of Liverpool has actually been astounding, if I'm being honest, and it's been really overwhelming but really great to watch, and Keita just takes him another level up, and so I think he's a very interesting and very fun prospect, and it's going to be really cool to see what he does for Liverpool. And now just a special mention, I suppose. I will be talking about Jorginho. He had a really good appearance for Chelsea. So after reviewing his game, I think one thing I noted was his fluid passing. You could notice that he wasn't pressured to succumb to rush passes regardless of what was happening around him. Unfortunately, he also got nutmegged, which I thought was hilarious. But man recovered literally as soon as the ball went through his legs. He actually retrieved it, which is not something we see enough, right? Good on him. To top it all off, he ended up getting a goal with his very chilled penalty. And I guess, yeah, one could say that I'm excited to see what he does for the rest of the season as well. Okay guys, so those are some of the players that I feel like had stellar performances for their debuts either into the EPL or into their new teams. If you feel as though I've missed some and there's questions that you have about different players that you want to know what I feel about them, feel more than welcome to share your football feels in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Get ready for more of my football feels.